Facts, bro. So we lit right now. It's the fucking Vano interview, man.
Vano 3K.
Yes, sir. Glad to have you here. We in the studio. You got everything on deck. You got the fucking beat machine and everything. So like, I guess starting off and shit, I would just kind of want to go through like, what was your like musical journey? Like, how did you start? What made you start want to make music, making music, and what made you want to start making beats?
Oh man, well I don't know, just like growing up on a lot of different types of music. Just like the energy I used to get from like sitting on top of, you know, my dad's like big speakers as like a kid, and just feeling that energy from like the bass and the drums and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Were your parents like into music also, or did you just?
Nah, they didn't make music. They just was like both music lovers. You know, my mom loved a lot of like soul, and my dad, he loved like a lot of reggae. So like those are two complete different. And then I grew up in Brooklyn, New York in the 90s before moving to Hollywood, Florida, and like it was nothing but hip hop, stuff like that, you know. And then finally moved to Florida, and then it's just more music. It's like now you got Spanish culture, so it's like I just grew up around so many different types of genres, and like just absorbed all of it.
That's fire. So like, when did you like first start making like beats though? Like, were you like originally getting into it to make beats, or were you like rapping first?
Nah, originally I was just beating on pots and pans in my mom's kitchen, and that was my way of making music. And then finally she got so tired of it, she just decided to like buy me a laptop, and she was like, figure it out, there you go. You know, this is how I want you to make your music. Like, you don't need to be making noise all throughout the house. So I took advantage of that opportunity. I think she got it for me for Christmas or my birthday, I can't remember. But
you got an actual beat machine?
No, it was a laptop, and what FL Studio, and like, you know, I was lucky enough to like.
Did you know about FL, or she just like researched it and found?
No,
FL?
I mean, I was always very computer literate, so I already knew about FL Studio. Like, it was really weird. We had like one of those old computers, like with the big screens, you know, the gray computers that they used to use back in the day. And like, I used to just use the audio record feature on that while playing a beat really loud in the background. You know what I'm saying? But then finally I was like, yo, I want to learn how to make my own beats. And then that's when I looked into the FL Studio, Pro Tools and stuff. And then like, I remember my Pro Tools came with the whole DVD series, and I sat and I watched all those DVDs. Yeah, man. And I was just like, I'm learning this. I'm gonna like master this and get really good at it. So like, from there, I did all my own engineering, all my own producing, and like, I've never been to a studio up until recently, like in New York. It's like my first time actually, like I've been to studios, but like actually recording for something for me, and the beats for me, like, and I'm using the whole space for me. So it's definitely a different experience, but it's dope. It's really cool.
Were you in where were you when you like first got that like FL? Were you in New York, or were you in Miami?
I was in Florida. I was in Hollywood, Florida.
Fire.
Yeah.
So then I guess, what's your like process like when you're like making beats? Like, how do you start, like when you first start, like the sampling part?
Yeah. Well, the sampling part of making beats is pretty much just, I'm listening to music all the time, you know? So like, I'm always looking out and listening to see like, what part do I love out of this record, and how am I gonna enhance it in my own way, you know? So usually I'm on live, you know, connecting with my audience, and I'll listen to music on YouTube or Spotify or wherever, and if something sticks out to me, then, you know, start pitching it, start chopping it, start thinking of something cool to do with it, and then really just transforming it into something new, you know?
And then, so do you really consider yourself more of like an artist than a producer artist type thing? Because you don't really be making that many beats for people, right?
Not
you kind
really.
of just make them like as instrumentals, right?
Yeah. So like the instrumentals pretty much have a life of their own. It's not always necessary to put vocals on beats, you know, and I feel like I translate that pretty well through my SP404. It's like a language, you know. I speak to you through the drums and the finger drumming that I'm doing on the beat. So I think, you know, people really connect with that, so it's cool. I did recently start laying vocals on some beats. I have a project called Long Live Vano. It's my first project where I'm actually laying vocals on some of the beats, but I did it really sparingly. Like, I didn't, you know, rap throughout the whole project. I let it breathe here and there, gave it some space, and it's a good variety of tracks.
So then, like, what made you want to decide to like start putting your vocals like on the
People kept asking me, man. They're like, yo, when are we gonna hear you spitting? We want to hear you rap. We want to see what you could do on these beats. And like that, and also like people would say, oh, I hear this artist on it. I hear this artist on it. So I'm thinking like, all right, I might as well show the world what it sounds like when someone raps over my beats. Cause like, yeah, someone else could do it, but who's to say that my audience is gonna see what they do on my beats, you know? So I might as well just deliver all the way, show the vision entirely, and yeah. And it's getting a good reception, so that's dope.
So to walk us through like what made you want to start like going on TikTok?
Just being the tastemaker that I am, man. Like, really just trying something new, you know? For years, I've been like trying to find a formula that best works for me and like what I feel most comfortable with. And like finally, I found the perfect way to display what I do best through the perfect platform, you know? And then I just used it to my advantage and just stayed consistent. That's pretty much just it, you know?
What were you saying?
Yeah, but it's also the consistency that you put in, you know, throughout all of your years. You know, you gotta be consistent you gotta be consistent and being consistent, like consistently consistent. So it's like, even when you're not working on what you want to do in life, you are in a sense, because you're doing something that's gonna benefit you in a way that will allow you to focus on what you truly want to do, you know? So it's like I put in a lot of free work. I put in a lot of hours learning things and studying, and like even studying other artists and how they like mix, and like just listening to small details, reading, like understanding the music business. It's a lot of things you really gotta like embody and the artist that you want to be. And the only way to truly do that, I think, is through like educating yourself and putting yourself through the processes of learning and stuff. You know, you really got to be in it. You really got to like love it too.
For the people that don't realize, like, how long have you actually like been doing this for before it like actually popped off?
For like probably like 15 years, man. Like, well, I wouldn't, not 15. Okay, let's say, I'd say about 13 years. 13 solid years. Yeah. 13. Damn. Yeah, 13 years.
So then, like, was this like your first? This wasn't your first taste of like the actual like industry and like contracts and stuff like that, right?
Nah, I've been through like, small little things. I was in the UK at one point. I went on tour all throughout the UK. And like I had labels get at me then, but it was like on a smaller level. It was like a lot of independent labels and stuff like that. So I've had small experiences, like even in like Miami, I connected with DJ EFN from Drink Champs, and he embraced me pretty early and was like, yeah man, I like what you're doing. And then we just always kept in contact and stuff. At one point I tried reggae. I was in Asia at the time, and I ended up in their newspapers, like for I did a performance at what was the name of the bar? It's like Yellow Bar or something in Chiang Mai. But other than that, I forgot your question.
So you were actually performing in Asia?
Yeah. I mean, like I've been traveling like all over the world and stuff, and like I just get myself into creative circles and just try to like learn from other cultures and like absorb what's going on and see how I could use it and translate it into my version of it and like from my perspective, Yeah.
What made you want to like go out and travel?
Learning, cause like it's like I decided not to go to college and university, so I'm like, all right, I'm not doing that, so I've got to educate myself in one way or another, and that's not gonna happen if I just stay in the same place. There's only so much you can learn in one place, Mm-hmm. So I decided to get an online job, and this was back in 2013, so it was like pretty early to get an online job, but I got pretty lucky with that because like my typing skills are pretty good, and I took full advantage of that. I was like, I'm gonna go explore the world and learn as much as I can, It was pretty dope. Pretty dope.
That's fire. So you were working the same online job while you were traveling, or like different things?
The same online job. I had that job for like a good 5 years or something like that.
That's fire, actually.
Yeah, that's like the longest job I've ever had because of how much freedom it gave me. I can't work in an office environment. I like can't do that, and I don't do too well with like jobs and stuff like that. I usually move on pretty quickly.
So then, like, tell us about like what made you want to go to New York.
Well, New York was my first home. New York is where I learned how to read, ride a bike, where I met my first friends, where I cried for the first time. You get what I'm saying? Like, New York is my home. And there's just a sense of comfort that I get from being there. I'm just like really just a lot more comfortable in my skin. It's just my vibe, It's my energy. So I always end up back in New York. Like, I could travel the whole world. I'd go to Florida for a few months, but I always end up back in New York. Mm-hmm. So this was just another round of me, ending back up in New York, and just this time just going with more wisdom, Like, moving up there this time, I just used more wisdom and discipline and focus, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just like plant myself here and just be stable, because like COVID isn't allowing us to travel right now anyway, so I'm like, I might as well just ground myself and like focus. And it's paying off big time. So
then do you feel like when everything keeps like sort of like blowing up and stuff, you're gonna still be like home base in New York?
No, I'm probably gonna be moving around a lot more. But yeah, probably yeah. I'll just like be settled in New York because it's just convenient living there. You know, it's just I don't gotta worry about too much. I know where everything is and all that stuff. Cost of living is pretty high, but it's cool.
Yeah, it's probably worth it because you get like access to like everything.
Yeah, it's access to everything, man. It's like just real easy. It's really easy. I got a good group of friends over there, stuff like that. You know, like it's dope. I don't know. It's not much to change. Yeah.
So then, like, would you say that like people look at you differently out there ever since like the Adult Swim thing? Like people that you've known for.
Nah, I wouldn't say nah. No one's looking at me differently. I think people are waiting to see if I'm gonna change, but I'm a Taurus. We don't change for shit. You know, so yeah.
How do you feel about like everything that's happening with like the Adult Swim trend and everything?
Ecstatic. I'm really happy about it, and like it's just what happens when you grind, man. So I just feel like I'm finally getting rewarded for the years of no's that I've had to hear. The like, you know, but this is just still the very beginning of it. But still, like, the achievements is making me really proud because I worked really hard for this consistently, you know, and I don't plan to stop anytime soon, ever, really. You know, so.
What made you want to like bring back the Adult Swim like bracket logo? Like, did you see something on? Were you like watching Adult Swim at the time?
Yeah, I still watch Adult Swim to this day. So, it's just ingrained in my subconscious, I guess.
Would you say that's your favorite channel then? Like,
yeah, for sure.
You be watching like all the new shows.
Yeah, for sure. New Rick and Morty season out right now. It's fire.
So it was just some shit that just made sense to you, and you just like put that in a video.
Yeah, cause like, you know, that Spider-Man video was pretty funny.
Was that the first video?
Yeah.
That was the first
Adult Swim video ever.
Did that initially go viral, or was it like?
Nah, it just caught on, and other people were just copying it, using the same sound, like, you know, and it just caught on fire.
So people like off the jump, like, how long did it take for, like, after you posted that video, to the first person like putting the brackets and like using the sound?
Probably straight after.
Like right after?
Yeah, like I mean, I've had like a solid following on TikTok for a while, before the Adult Swim trend. So like, you know, like people were following me and like interacting with my posts, and also like, you know, if they thought something was cool, they duet or like repost with the sound or whatever. But honestly, like, man, I just tried something and it worked really well.
So like you basically posted it, and then like a bunch of people started doing it, or just like a couple people? And did you even say like, let's start a trend or anything about trends or anything? Or like,
I did kind of hint at it, because on the Spider-Man video I said this sound works with everything, try it out. And then I put the Adult Swim logo, and it, I guess just the way it looked with Spider-Man trying to like block the camera and stuff, it was just like very Adult Swim aesthetic type, and I think it just translated well to the people who've seen it. And then,
how long did it take for it to get to like the point where you were like, okay, this shit is gonna be big? Or did you originally think that like right after you saw a couple people like posting it?
Well, I had a good feeling about the sound, and the reason for that is because the way I pitched it and everything, I was just like, man, I gotta do something special for this. So the original video with that sound is of me eating a sandwich, and I made sure I wrote "produced by Vano 3000" on it. And you know, I've never did that for any other video besides that one. Like that was the first time I wrote on a video. I just had a good feeling about the sound, about the beat, and
So the sandwich video was the original first one, like
yeah, with the sound.
With the sound.
And then like 2 days later, I was like, I'm gonna use this sound to make an Adult Swim logo.
And then you kept making different like Adult Swim videos too.
Yeah.
And then it sort of like caught a life of its own, right?
Bro, there was a point where I was like, okay, it's gone. There it is.
And then how long after that did the like bad not good like hit you up?
No, I hit them up.
Oh, you hit them up?
Yeah.
Did they notice the trend like beforehand?
Well, their streams went up a very high percentage, so they knew something was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but they didn't know about TikTok or anything like that?
No, they weren't even on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
I got them on the TikTok.
Wait, they started TikTok now?
They started TikTok doing the Adult Swim trend. With this, they sampled my sample of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And with drums and like live instruments.
Dang, so they weren't even on TikTok. So the streams just went up and then they didn't even really know what was happening?
No, so I contacted their label and I said, hey, if you're seeing any activity, that might be because I have a beat that I sampled from you guys and it's going viral right now. So let's talk business, you know? Like,
was it hard to like contact or did they immediately like reach back to you?
Oh yeah, they reached back straight away.
You went straight to the label then and they were just like, okay.
Yeah.
Bet. So then after you did that, you ended up like how long after did you make the vocal remix or was that always like in your mind to do?
Yeah, it was. I just gave myself some time to breathe and think about how I wanted to do it. Because everyone was trying to pressure me to drop it straight away. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take my time with this. I don't got to rush. Like, for what? Let me get it done right. So, like, you know, this is going to, once it's posted, that's it. So I gave myself like 2 weeks to finally decide on what I wanted to do, you know? And then once I made a decision, I went to the studio, put it all together, and the final results are on Spotify and Apple Music.
Do you like write or do you just like freestyle?
No, I write.
You write? So you wrote that ahead of time and went to the studio?
Yeah.
What was like going to the studio, like you were saying earlier that you went there like for the first time really, like what was that like sort of like actually recording in the studio, like sort of for the first time?
It was pretty dope, like free feeling, like, you know, like I didn't have any burden to like mix as I'm going and stuff. It felt really, really good.
Was it like surreal because you knew that like it was gonna be something like super special because of everything that was happening?
I mean, yeah, kind of, yeah. It felt good. It was like, man, this is gonna be a big record, like off rip.
So you were more like super like just like really like into it. You weren't like nervous or anything. You were just like
I'm never nervous, man. I'm just live my true self and just accept myself 100%. And I feel like as long as you accept yourself 100%, nothing can bother you because like you've accepted yourself. So anything anyone else has to say, it doesn't matter. Like it will not affect you. So I think nervousness comes from you thinking of what other people are going to be thinking. But you know, if you don't think that way, then you just stay true to yourself and just do what you do, and everything will come out perfectly. Just it's like a deep level of consciousness that you gotta discipline yourself on, you know, in order to really like align yourself.
How do you like align yourself like that? Do you do like meditation or something?
Oh yeah, I meditate all the time. Always meditate.
How long you been doing that?
And I'm always thanking the creator of the world, like whatever, whoever it is, like always.
How long have you like been meditating for your whole life, or like did you just start doing that?
I started about 12 years ago.
You meditate on some daily shit, or like just whenever there's like some shit that is
Every day.
Every day?
Yeah, every day.
You feel like it's really like I be seeing online that like a lot of successful people meditate and stuff. Do you feel like that plays a big role in your success?
Oh yeah, for sure. Hell yeah. Yeah, because it just it allows you to have like a level of focus that you won't have unless you do that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, I don't know, it just works, and if something works, you just do it. You get what I'm saying? Like it's hard to explain how meditation benefits the mind, but it works and it does. So I think it's a good practice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you feel like your path for like how you want to go about your like music career and stuff is more clear now, or do you feel like shit is more complicated with like all the like everything that comes along with like being big as fuck?
Nah, man, it's more clear than ever, because like you, at the end of the day, you have decisions, you have options. You could say yes to something, you could say no to something. Something could offer you $20 million, but you still have the power and the freedom to say no to it. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, that's why your integrity is so important, because then you're not allowing certain things to control your decision making.
Mm-hmm. What do you damn, that's pretty crazy actually. What was I gonna say? Like, so I want to ask you real quick about what's the name of your beat machine?
SP404.
SP404. Like, how long have you been like finger drumming and like using the beat machine and stuff?
It's been on and off like 5-6 years,
Mm-hmm.
but I just probably 2 or 3 years ago was getting really serious into it, trying to master it, perfect it.
Is that a whole community in itself of like producers?
Yeah, for sure.
Damn, so then that's like some real old school shit too, because you don't really be seeing people really like using it nowadays.
Yeah, but it's gonna make a comeback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like you're single-handedly probably bringing that shit back.
Yeah, probably. I mean, a lot of people are buying it because of me. They'd say like, look, man, I just bought an SP404 and I need you to teach me how to do some stuff.
Mm-hmm. Gotta get that sponsorship for real.
Yeah. Shout out to Roland.
That's fire though. Like, do you feel like you're gonna move more in the direction of still using that, or you think you're gonna produce more on like FL in the future?
No, I'm sticking to my SP404.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I'm known for, and it's my thing, man. Like, I'm not gonna hop around. I'm gonna stay solid and consistent.
So you're basically like, well, not basically.
But who knows? In the future, maybe an MPC or something. But from what I'm thinking now, I think, man, let me just stick with my thing.
What you know?
Yeah.
So you're basically like
and master it.
You're like 100% independent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you you're planning on staying that way, or you will, maybe if some like label hits you up with a big ass amount of money you'd ever sign, or like you're just trying to keep it independent?
It depends on the circumstances. You know, like I can't speak for it without knowing the circumstances. You know, there's always a possibility of something if it's beneficial and if it makes sense. You know. So I wouldn't like just say, oh no, I'm staying independent forever. It's like it depends on the circumstances. Like a contract could be altered, you know. So
that's fire. So
yeah, man.
What's some stuff that you have planned like in the future? Any like projects or anything?
Always. I have volume 404 on the way. I have a bunch of stuff that I'm working on. Well, I'm focusing on volume 404 right now. But I'm taking my time with it. I mean, since the beginning of the year, I've just been like pushing out beat tape month after month. But I'm gonna, take my time, make sure this is perfected, because like I feel like this next project that I release a lot of people is gonna be tuned in, and it's just gotta be done super right, and like it's just gotta be special, you know. So, Volume 404 on the way.
Is that gonna be more instrumental only, or is it gonna be rapping on it also, or what are you thinking?
Hybrid.
Hybrid
It'll be a hybrid, but I'm gonna sauce it up, man. Just know that. I already hear it in my head, and I know what I'm gonna do. And you guys just gonna have to wait and see what it sounds like.
For like your beat tapes, what make you want to just drop? I guess for like the most recent one, drop the beat tape as like one long track instead of like splitting them up into different tracks.
The transitions of the beats, and it's just more of a groove, more of a vibe. I feel like, yeah, it's like when you play it, I want you to just be able to just vibe for 15 minutes. You know, I have a 45-minute tape, a 30-minute tape, 20-minute tape. I probably will try out doing separate tracks in the future, but I think this method works. It's hard to explain it, man. It's just like a gut feeling type of thing. Like, yeah, do it like this, you know?
It's some different shit for real.
Yeah, it's just my way.
I feel like it really like puts you into the music more, and you have to like pay attention more to it, because like if you have a certain song you fuck with on it, you have to know like what time it's at,
where it's at,
on
right?
some old school like DVD shit. Like
yeah.
I don't know if niggas remember that, but like when you had a DVD, like, or was it even like that? Yeah, like
no, well, like record players were like that too.
record players.
You gotta put it like on point, like exactly where. Yeah, you gotta know where the song's located. So I don't know. I'm hoping that hopefully in the near future, Spotify adds a feature where we could put timestamps, so it's like people don't have to like scrub through the player to try to find a song. It's like I've got all the timestamps here, so you click on the timestamp, it'll bring you right to the song that you want to hear. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So what made you come up with the name Dove Gang?
Well, the type of music that I make is like levitation music, right? Like people say, yo, when I hear your beats, I feel like I'm levitating. So, I remember my first time going live on TikTok, and I was just thinking of like, what correlates best with what I'm doing? And like, I just thought of doves. Doves just popped into my head. So I was like, everyone just comment dove emojis in the comment section, and everyone started doing it. And then I start playing beats, and so I'm playing the levitation music while there's doves. It's just beautiful. It's like, you know, peace represent good energy, good vibes, all that stuff, and that's pretty much what I represent through the music, you know. That's on.
So then also when you first started on TikTok, like you were recording in your truck and like in your car and stuff. What made you want to do that instead of like being in like a studio or like being outside or anything?
I mean, that's just the way it was. I was actually always making music in my truck. Like, I wasn't just doing it for the camera. I was actually making music in my truck. So I just was like, yo, let's do this on camera, show the world what we got going on here, and see if they mess with it, you know?
You would just basically like just post stuff for hours and just like make beats and stuff?
Yeah. To this day, still do it. Like, you know, I go live.
But you don't do it in a car?
Not in a truck.
You be outside?
Yeah, I'm, you know, either in my place or outside or at a park or Times Square.
When you're outside, like at a park or Times Square, do a lot of people be coming up and like...
Not a lot, but like every now and then people will recognize me, and like, also they'd be like, yo, man, I like what you're doing. Oh, you're a producer? What's your Instagram? Like, you know, a lot of questions, especially in Times Square. Yeah.
Do you feel like that type of stuff is like also kind of what helped you pop off, or do you feel like it was mostly just all internet based?
No, that type of stuff helped for sure too. I mean, yeah, solid. Because it all helps, but definitely the internet is like a significant portion of where people discover me.
Do you, when you go outside and you do it as like a means of like kind of figuring out if you're like what you're working on is fire, and like sort of as like getting like other people to like sort of give you feedback, or do you just do it?
No, I just do it for more fresh air and like more inspiration, and like I'm seeing things happen while I'm making it. It puts me in more of a zone rather than being in like a room or something. You see things, you see birds, you see people, you see the trees, the weather is nice. It puts you in more of a zone.
Any weird shit ever happen like while you're like making beats? Like outside?
If so, I didn't see it.
Probably not.
I'd be like so focused. Yeah.
And people probably come up to it and start rapping, right?
Probably. I be having my headphones on, so I'm like.
Wait, so you don't even play it out loud? You're just playing it in your headphones?
Like sometimes, if my speaker's like charged up and stuff, then I like just hook up the speaker so other people can hear. But sometimes I'll just have my headphones on. It depends.
What's some advice that you'd have for like up and coming sort of producers first, and then just creatives in general?
Well, I'd have to speak to all creatives at once, including producers, because I feel like there's a sort of process that you've got to take just in life in general. It's not even like related exactly to our skill or our passion. It's more of like a ask that question again.
What's some advice that you'd have for like up and coming creatives that get like discouraged or something?
Man, just push through. Just be consistent. Like, don't stop and don't doubt yourself. If you've really got to love what you do in order to, I think, to be successful at it. And if you love something, you can't just let it go. You can't give up on yourself. So I just feel like the consistency, and just even when you get like a million no's, and like just keep going. Like you will get better as time goes on, and everything happens at the right timing. I feel like. You gotta grind, man. You gotta sweat. You gotta work. Nothing's gonna come easy, especially in music, like where everyone wants to be a musician. You really gotta do something different. Stand out from the crowd. Don't be lazy. Like, you use your own mind and creativity. There's like a lot of copycats and stuff. For what? It's like you're not standing out at that point. So. There's a million ways to be different. But stay true to yourself, like, first of all, like, never lie to yourself. I'd say, like, that's the biggest advice I could give that to anyone, is to never lie to yourself. That's the worst thing you could do, because then you're just living.
What do you mean by lie to yourself?
Keep it real with yourself. If you know that something's whack, or, like, if you know that a certain part of you isn't 100% right, like internally, I feel like you should be honest enough with yourself to say, hey, I need to work on this, and I should improve on this, and I should become better, rather than just accepting it and not growing, and just out of laziness. I feel like we all should be like intentional about becoming a better version of ourselves. Yeah.
What are some tips that you like use to like keep like going, I guess, like when shit gets like discouraging or something? Like, what is some like mental reminders or something that you'd like give yourself?
I mean, just life goes on, man. Like, honestly, I don't like get that emotional about it. It's like I just think more logical about it. I'm like, bro, you've had a lot of down days, and look at you, like you're still thriving, you're still getting better. So it's like, yeah, I mean, there are down days, but they don't last long at all. And honestly, like a lot of the down days that a person might have is coming from them themselves. They create that, you know, because it's like we make the decision. Ultimately, I think we make the decision on whether something affects us or not, you know, emotionally. Like, yeah, there's certain things that we just can't help, but for like majority, I think we could like sort of control how we think about it, and like the glass half full type things, like very important. It's all about perspective. Put yourself in the right perspective.
For sure. Cool, man. Appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, man.
Definitely check out all this new shit you just dropped. The Running Away track.
Yep.
Whole Long Live Vano tape. And what's the name of the new tape that you're dropping?
It's not confirmed yet, but right now, volume 404. So like SP 404. It's like I had volume 1, volume 2, volume 3000, and now just, you know, 404.
What's the release ETA, do you think, in the next like month or so, or like
I'd say month and a half.
Month and a half?
Yeah, I want to see what happens with Running Away. It just depends, you know? It depends on what happens. It depends on what opportunities come up and how much time I'd have to work on it and what type of budget I'd have to, you know?
Yeah.
So, but for now, we're looking at like a month and a half or so.
For sure. But yeah, man, appreciate you doing this.
Yes, sir.
Stay safe.
Thanks
shit,
for having me, man. Shout out to Stay Safe.
Yeah.
Shout out to Adult Swim. Shout out to TikTok. Shout out to Bad Bad Not Good. Innovative Leisure. Appreciate y'all, man. Let's get it.